my surprise.
It's because he's noisy. That's why. I don't actually think that I'm going to teach you anything brand new today. Today, what we embark on now for the next couple of days is getting back into the mindset of how do you write the equation of a line. So today is the 12th day. 12. Oh, yeah, it is the 12th day of the 12th month. Neat. And we are now back in this mindset of writing equations of lines. And I'll say this multiple times because people will ask multiple times, and that's okay. For the next few days, I want every answer that you get to be in y equals mx plus b form. And that's going to involve some extra work for us because we're going to probably use point slope to get our foot in the door, and then we'll have to convert from there. But we have gone down this road, so I'm glad we spent a little time one day talking about how to distribute and make it look the way we want it to look. So what's the only type of line that can't be written in y equals mx plus b? There is one type of straight line. Vertical lines cannot be written. They literally by definition cannot be written because they have no slope. And so the one exception will be when you encounter a problem like you will in the notes and you will in the assignment. If the line is vertical, you can't write it as y equals. It's the only time you cannot. But everything else I expect to say y equals. Okay, everything. So let's get started. Basically, today's assignment comes at you in 3 tiers or levels. I'll call them levels. I think that's a more friendly word. So there's level 1. And in level 1, I'm going to give you the slope and the y-intercept. Math does not get any easier than what you're about to experience. So if anything that I'm about to say confuses you, do a reboot, a reset, and know that you're making this way too hard. So let's say I told you that I had a line in mind and his slope was -1/2. So you can already picture the line going downhill, not very steep, down 1, right 2, right? And let's say that it has a y-intercept that is at, I don't know, let's call it 4. If you think about it, okay, so my teacher is asking me to write my equations in y equals mx plus b form. In order to write something in y equals mx plus b form, I need m. What's m again? Slope. I'm like, oh, thanks for giving me the slope. I already have it. And the other thing I need is b. And what's b again? So if you think about it, you're like, hold on a second. You're giving me everything I need to write the equation of the stupid line? Yeah, which is why we don't want to spend too much time talking on this section. And I certainly don't want to have to admonish you if you miss a lot of these or any of these, because everything you have is just handed to you on a silver platter. So if you want the equation of the line and I give you the slope and I give you the y-intercept, what's the answer to this problem?
Y equals -1.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, math just doesn't get any simpler than that. And so do people miss them? Yeah, they do. I have no idea how, but you literally just pop the slope, boop, right in place of m, and you pop the y-intercept just boop right at the end, bam, and you move on your way. So there are a little bit of sort of nuancy things that can happen. So what if I said to you that the slope was 2 and the y-intercept is at 0? That's maybe going to look a little bit different, huh? What's this one going to say when we're done?
Y equals 2.
Yes. And if you like putting a +0 at the end, it's not wrong. It's a little creepy and weird. But I mean, think about it again. If I want a slope and a y-intercept and someone's nice enough to give me both of them, I just move on my way. And then the only other nuancy sort of thing that can happen is this. What if I gave you a line and I told you that his slope was 0 and his y-intercept is at -10? That's interesting. What kind of a line has a slope of 0?
Horizontal.
And how do we, yeah, you're right, horizontal. And how do we write equations of horizontal lines? Y equals -10. Well done, sir. So those are the three sort of things that you could see in the first section of problems. But I mean, I'm serious, man. If I give you what you need, you just drop it in and you move on your way. Each one of those should take, I don't know, 6 or 7 seconds tops, or depending on how slow you write. Any questions on that? That's a level 1 problem. I don't expect any issues there. Okay, let's talk about level 2. So in level 2, you'll be given the slope and a point. Notice that this is just now a point. This is not the point specifically on the y-axis that makes our life so easy. It's just some random point, obviously on the line. So given slope and a point, maybe I should be more specific on the line. That would just be weird if I just gave you some random point in the middle of nowhere, right? So for example, let's say that the slope of the line is 1/4. And I tell you that the line goes through the point -8, 5. We're not scared, right? So we learned this, it's been about a week because we kind of got sidetracked getting ready for that other quiz. We took a detour and now we're back and we really, really want to lean heavily on our good friend, Mr. Point Slope. And this, as I said before, is your quick foot in the door. It's the best way to write an equation and do it quickly. Does anyone remember what the point slope formula is? It's a weird one. Alina? So it's y minus, and I want to differentiate that y. Good job, equals. And you could just say y minus y1 and x minus x1. Some people say y sub 1, meaning like go down, but just whatever. Good job. So remember, this is our point slope formula, and it's our best buddy in the world in a situation like this. And it really, I mean, it makes perfect sense. It's called point slope, for goodness sake. So it's really useful when we have a point and the slope. And so recall that the substitutions are going to occur here. It's been a few days, so I'll refresh you. The substitutions are going to take place in that gold box, in this gold box, and in this gold box, right? So what goes in place of m? Right, so we're going to put a 4th right there, because that's the slope, of course. And then what are we going to put right here in place of y1? Very good. That's where the y coordinate of the point goes. And what's going to go here in place of x1? That's not an 8. That is -8. And so you've done this. You did a whole assignment of this, quite frankly. So what's going to change today is we're not going to just put it in and stop. We're going to put it in, and then we're going to modify it across to make it look like y equals mx plus b. So let's do the first step first. Bless you. So here we go. When I write the actual equation out, it's going to say y minus 5 equals 1/4 of what? +8. Very good, you guys. We have to switch it to +8 because the x coordinate that we plugged in is a negative. And so we don't stop here today. We have to now press on. This is point slope. We want slope intercept. What do we do first? You have to distribute the 1/4. Very good. So what is 1/4 of x? Sorry, I had to ask you that. What's 1/4 of 8? Very good. Good basics there. And are we satisfied? Not quite. What's the last thing we have to do? Meaning? Right. Add the 5, move the 5. You say it however you want to, but the final answer is going to be y equals. Nice job. I want to try to make myself clear that this is what your answers, I know I said it earlier and I'll say it again. That's what your answers need to look like. Again, barring a vertical line, you can always write a line as y equals. And that's what we're going for there today. Good. All right. And then finally, there's level 3. And do you want to guess what level 3 is? It's okay. In level 3, you'll just be given 2 points. So again, our foot in the door is going to be that formula that Alina read to us, the point slope formula. So for an example, let's say I tell you, I want you to write me the equation of a line that goes through the points -2, 5, and 4, 8. What are we missing? What are we going to do about that? Yeah, I remember things in my head when kids say things that I love. I remember about a week ago, I asked a question like that and I said, like, what are we missing? And Bryce, I think, said the slope. And I said, what are we going to do about it? And Zane, right on his heels, said, find it. And I think that's kind of the words I wanted. Do you remember that by chance? It's just the perfect flow of thoughts is like, okay, I need a slope, find it. And that's where your brain needs to go is say, like, if I don't have a slope, I got to find it. We're not going anywhere without a slope. So, all right, hit me up with the slope. What's my first subtraction going to look like? Good job. And I'm not interested in the answer yet. You know that. I just want the subtraction problem. 8 minus 5. And then the other subtraction is 4 plus 2. Very good. So if we don't know the slope, that's okay. We'll just find it. What's 8 minus 5 now? 4 plus 2. What's my slope? Good job, you guys. So the slope is 1/2. And so now we're poised and ready to use, well, point slope formula because we have a point and a slope. So the question at this point is, which of the 2 blue points do you want to use? You could choose either one of them and you'll get the same answer, right? So if Jesse chooses -2, 5 and Tegan chooses 4, 8, if neither one of them has made any mistakes on the slope or makes mistakes after that, we'll collectively come to the same place. So as a class, which one do you guys like better? 4 and 8. I figured you might be attracted to that because we don't have the negative issue. So what I like to do at this point is give a light cross out to the point that I'm not going to use so that my eyeballs don't accidentally wander to the wrong place. So let's do this. Point slope equation, what's it going to say? Excellent. And this is a great answer. It's just not what we want yet. We want to distribute. So what happens when we distribute? What do we get?
So y minus 8 equals 1/2 x minus 2.
And then we have to make the y, add the 8, move the 8, say it however you want to. We get y equals. And that is that. I wanted to caution you about just one more thing, and then I'm going to end this video and you guys can get to work. There are some odd situations that creep up, and I'll just be curious always to see who spots them. Let's say I was doing a level 2 problem, and I told you that the slope of the line is -2/3. So this is level 2, and that the line goes through the point 0, -6. Anyone have anything to say about that? It is not a vertical line.
No, it goes to the left.
There's something of great significance about this point. And if what I'm about to say loses you, then that's okay. It's just a point, bro. It's just a point. It's just a point. Where is that point? How would you get to that point? So you're telling me if I were making a graph, which I'm not, but if I were making a graph, that to get to the point 0, -6, I would just go down 6 and put a dot right here. Is that correct? Do we have a name for that point? What's he called? What is the name of any point that lies on the y-axis? It's something that we really like. It helps us. What did you say? It's the y-intercept in disguise. He's masquerading around as a level 2 problem when in reality, if you're savvy, you realize, oh, hang on, you're giving me the y-intercept. So in a problem like this, I could just jump right in and say, oh, I know my answer already. It's y equals negative 2/3 of x minus 6. Boom. So always watch for problems where the y-intercept is masquerading as just a normal point, right? Remember, if you see a point like this, that's not a y-intercept. That's not going to be useful to you. You need to go through the process in that case. But if the 0 is the x, then the y-coordinate has to be the y-intercept. Got it? All right, great.